wants special but equal. Let's just be honest what it is. But hey, that's Jemele Hill. But what do you can't put her on TV. We saw that. She's actually become somebody perfect for a Tuesday. Jemele Hill thinks it's wrong. Does it automatically make it right? I think it does. Let's be honest. At first, she was simply a DEI hire. And SportsCenter quickly realized Jemele Hill had no talent. You know, she didn't look the part. She just couldn't be hip high. She couldn't be anything. She didn't. She couldn't be anything. You know, when you are a SportsCenter anchor, you kind of got to look like you know about sports. She's kind of frumpy, kind of round, and trying to be something that she's really not. And that didn't work. And then she became a writer. Maybe she was a writer first and, you know, whatever. And then she became back to being a writer. And then, of course, she did what a lot of folks did, became a race-based writer. Could never really get it off the ground. Nobody really wanted to hire her because really nobody took her serious. See, one of the great things about yours truly is that people saw me do basketball games. They listened to me for years, and they know my opinions matter because they may disagree with them, but they know they're informed, and frankly, they know that normally I'm pretty right. Well, here's what you're going to get out of what I just said from someone like Jemele Hill. See, that's racist. He didn't say I looked the part. He said I wasn't smart enough. No, I said you did not look the part. You know, that round look on TV, it just doesn't. I'm sorry. Why do you think there's something called the bubble-headed bleach blonde? Or, you know, the brother like Mark Jones who's styling and profiling. Or me, who's incredibly handsome. But anyway, yeah, you didn't look the part. People figured out you're not who you are. Then you move it along. All right. So she's trying. And you know now she's just become inconsequential. She's actually become somebody perfect for a Tuesday during football season. Tuesday, Wednesday during football season. I mean, just find something stupid to talk about, right? I mean, Monday, we're talking Monday Night Football. Thursday, we're getting ready for a whole weekend of games. Friday's obvious. But Tuesday or Wednesday is perfect for the Jemele Hills of the world. Perfect. I mean, perfect for the Ryan Clarks of the world. Basically, if you're a moron, you're going to do something and say something really, really stupid so we get to make fun of you. It's what we do. And we're not afraid. Most shows would be afraid, oh my God, an African-American sister. We can't. No, we treat everybody the same on this show. From the frumpy to the gorgeous. We treat you the same. But anyway, she's the worst. If we did that old Keith Olbermann, who's the worst human being on earth, Jemele Hill would be there often. It's no longer a surprise that this gas bag lacks any sense of human decency. She's trying so hard. It's cute to watch, actually. She's trying so hard. And so many of her brethren in the media want her so bad. But you can't put her on TV. We saw that. Her podcast failed. Her book was abysmal. I mean, all you really got is call out white people if you're Jemele Hill. Last Friday, Jemele Hill criticized employees who fired workers over their heinous comments about Charlie Kirk's death. She claimed Kirk promoted white superiority, and his legacy should reflect it. Of course, Kobe Bryant was a rapist. I mean, you know, he was, and became a girl dad in old crazy's mind. It's pretty funny to see her. It's actually amusing. It's not important. This is the dumbest segment we'll do all week because it involves her. But let's pay attention to what little Jemele has to say. Here we go. 2 minutes and 1 second of pure stupid.
The reason he was labeled a white supremacist is because he believed in the superiority of white people, which is why he said that he would be concerned if he saw a black pilot, which is why he said that he questioned the brain processing of brilliant minds such as Joy Ann Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson, because he ultimately believed in the superiority of white people. So I don't think I'm being insensitive by bringing that up. And the only reason I feel like I even need to bring that up is because of the counter narrative that is establishing itself. And that's the problem with history and the problem with receipts is that you can't erase the receipts. You can't, I learned this a long time ago, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, is that people don't remember what you do, although a lot of times they do, but more importantly, they remember how you made them feel. And Charlie Kirk, with his words and with his influence, he made a lot of people who were not straight white Christian men feel less than human, feel less than qualified, feel a lot of less thans. That's how he made them feel, and that was his entire purpose. So we have room in our big old brains for multiple thoughts, for being upset and angry about what happened to Charlie Kirk, because it says a lot about our political discourse in this moment, but also being reflective enough to surface what also made him somebody whose influence was dangerous in a lot of respect and contributed to the political atmosphere in which we're living now.
Man, grotesque and stupid and a liar. Charlie Kirk did not. Hey, he did. He absolutely said, hey, I'll be concerned if black pilots make up 8%. The FAA came out and said very publicly, we want to boost that to 50% women and black pilots. Okay, they're going to lower standards to do it. Okay, well, reasonable people, and she's not reasonable, she's just throwing things at a wall. Reasonable people would concur that, hey, I don't want a pilot that has lowered the standards to become a pilot. It's like I got a friend, and he's kind of stupid, but he's book smart. And I used to say, Joe, you're going to be a doctor, but you ain't going to be my doctor. And that's no different for white or black, but what people don't want Jemele Hill, and they want to lie about what Charlie Kirk said, number one, but what they don't want is to be held to the same level as white people. No, they want special but equal. Let's just be honest what it is. That's what she wants. You know, when somebody comes out, an organization comes out and says we're at 8% unacceptable, we want to get to 50% and standards are going to be lowered, or even if they didn't say standards are going to be lowered, how do you think you're going to get there? They're certainly not raised. I mean, DEI is such a proud thing for so many organizations. But you can't question it, according to Jemele Hill. You can't question it. I mean, think about it. We have the best DEI program. I remember when it came out on Ohio State University, a big, long list of all the sisters that got hired to work in the DEI offices of the Ohio State University, and everybody was so proud. And so many were making six figures, the brothers and the sisters in the DEI program. And every company in America talked about their great DEI, the bigness of their DEI hires, but you're not allowed to question it? That doesn't make any sense. That don't make no damn sense. It doesn't. I mean, people like Jemele Hill twist the truth. People like Jemele Hill twist the truth because they got nothing else. I mean, you can't put her on TV, as I said. That's impossible. Couldn't write a book. Nobody read it. I don't know, podcast, that didn't work either. They gave her TV show, biggest one at ESPN, didn't work. You can't do it. So now you just got to make up lies, and I'm staying with the pilot thing. That's a damn lie. Now, if Charlie Kirk made you feel some kind of way, that's on you. Because everything that I've seen on Charlie Kirk was backed on facts. He literally asked about that Supreme Court justice. Why, you're not allowed to? You can only ask about white Supreme Court justices? You can spin anything you want into race. Dakich is a racist. He's wearing black shirt today. And that's what Jemele Hill does. It's idiot, but it's her. And that's why she continues to fade into oblivion. I'm sure she's got like one of them L. Sharpton deals, Jesse Jackson deals, where she's got people paying her to say stupid shit. I mean, you can tell she didn't even believe her own bullshit there. But hey, that's Jemele Hill. Again, Jemele Hill just lionized Charlie Kirk. If Jemele Hill don't like you, you're doing good. I mean, really, 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 really good. Jemele Hill, I think it's completely fair when you remember somebody big to consider the totality of their legacy, not just the parts you liked or the parts that make them look better. Charlie Kirk made his living question the humanity, dignity, and respect of others. No, he didn't. He asked questions that literally everybody should be asking. He treated black people the same as white people, and that infuriates the Jemele Hills of the world, the Ryan Clarks of the world, I want equality, but I want special. Now, that's what he did. And if his words offended you, how weak-minded are you? I mean, if Charlie Kirk made you feel some kind of way, how weak-minded are you? That's the beauty, as I look at it, of playing sports and playing for Bob Knight. You're not weak-minded. You're not going to sit there and listen to some 31-year-old go on a college campus and speak facts and get all offended. You're not. Somebody calls me a bald fuck. I'm not going to run and say that's racist, sexist, mean. It's beautiful. Jemele Hill couldn't play with anything. It's amazing. That's one person's opinion, of course, Jemele Hill. And we do live in America. You're allowed to have any opinion you want. She's perfect for Tuesdays, as I said. The problem is when your entire approach changes. And Hill only holds herself to that standard when it comes to discussing a person she despises. Mostly white people. You know, never mind. A good friend of the show, Bobby Brack, pointed out the following. She vowed to judge Kirk by the totality of his legacy. Fine. Why would anybody care if Jemele Hill is judging you? Jemele Hill's judging me today. Oh, my God, Jemele Hill wrote a nasty art. Oh, really? Oh, God. Oh, my God. But why didn't she do the same with Kobe Bryant, Dad? You know why? He's black. And she's a liar and a fraud. And nothing proves it more than this whole black pilot thing. She's just a fraud. That's why. After Bryant's death in 2020, Hill praised him as fearless, driven, and excellent. In an Atlantic op-ed, Kobe Bryant was a rapist. Kobe Bryant was such a sexual predator. His agent told my brother they told that Colorado spot not to have any women show up that day. That's how big a predator, a sexual predator, Kobe Bryant was. And by the way, I don't know if I got this 1,000% right. And it doesn't make any difference, but the things that Kobe Bryant did to that woman are unspeakable. The tears, the brutality. But yeah, he's perfect. And this is the same thing as Democrats. Now follow me here. When Tim Walz came out as Tim Walz, and the Democrats tried to change it as you're weird. They knew Walz was a freak, and they told us we're weird. Same thing with Kobe Bryant. They knew Kobe Bryant was a sexual predator, period. You can get mad at me all you like, but this is from the horse's mouth. And they turned him into a girl dad. Uh-huh. What about the girl's dad that he raped? Think that guy thinks he's a girl's dad? But, hey, Jemele Hill does for one reason and one reason only. He's black and she's black. 2 reasons. And she's an idiot. But as outstanding as Kobe Bryant was as a player, his growth in retirement was more impressive. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, where are you going to go when you're a rapist? I mean, where are you going to go? You barely escaped jail. You paid the girl off. The trial ended in the middle because you made a big cash settlement because you're such a predator that you had to get out of this. But hey, all right, you became a human being. Is that the growth? Really? Is that the growth? Okay, good. Once the epitome of precocious arrogance, he evolved into a true champion for others. Uh-huh, sure he did. Few players of his stature embraced and supported the WNBA the way he did, which no doubt was partially related to the fact that his daughter Gianna was beginning to look like a mini Kobe on the basketball court. Okay. That's part of Bryant's legacy, but not all of it. In 2003, a 19-year-old accused Bryant of rape. The case was dismissed after she declined to testify, but the reported evidence against him was damning. Bruises, vaginal tears, bloody clothes. And he admitted he never asked for consent. No, he didn't. He's a predator. I mean, his agents knew. Everybody knew. And everybody can deny, but that's who he is. Hill downplayed the scandal in a tribute, framing Bryant as somebody wrongfully accused and never linked to the court record, of course. And since Hill was so shaken by Kirk's words, why didn't she hold Bryant to the same standard? In 2011, the NBA fined Bryant $100,000 for calling a referee on the court the F word. To our knowledge, never saw Kirk use a racial slur, a gay slur. But hey, look, thank God for her. Tuesdays are better when Jemele Hill's a dumbass. Actually, every day is. She has morphed into a sorry-ass caricature of what a journalist is supposed to be. Now, she can write an article on me, call me whatever you like. I don't care. But the truth of the matter is, I've just spoken the truth. I've just spoken the truth. Hey, for over 2 decades, the Tunnels to Tower Foundation has been there for our fallen and catastrophically injured first responders and military and Gold Star families. If spouse Dowser is catastrophically injured in the line of duty, the foundation will provide the surviving family members with a mortgage-free home. The foundation will provide the surviving family mortgage-free home. Sorry, I'm reading this. They provided over 1,500 mortgage homes, and now they have promised to eradicate homelessness among the veteran population. Learn more about it. Learn more about the Foundation's mission, impact, and how you can help support our nation's heroes. Visit T2T.org. My friend Urban Meyer is really big in that. It's freaking awesome. All right, it was only a matter of time before Nerd Boy, a.k.a. Mike McDaniel. Remember how Mina Kimes said, he's so cool. He don't seem so cool now. He seems a little frustrated. He gets his ass canned as head coach of the Dolphins, and it kind of sucks. I really don't like him. I don't know him. I'm saying that what I see of him. I mean, it's embarrassing for the NFL to have him as a head coach. It really is. I mean, the disrespect to the history of the NFL, the I'm better than you while you're horse shit, particularly in terms of providing a culture on your team. You know, wearing the sweatpants on the sidelines, just disrespectful. Dress for your job, son. I mean, we understand you're soft and you had to figure out, am I black or white? How do I get this job at a time when, you know, you had to be black to get a job. He got it. And as Mina Kimes has endorsed him, offering up one of the most patented, bizarre press conference answers in the wake of another ass-kicking, 33-27, loss to the New England Patriots. To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game. I know what he's saying. It's the same thing, basically, as victory favors a team making the fewest mistakes. Or stupid loses more than smart wins. I get it. But when it's him, you just got to laugh because this was the most overhyped hire in this coaching hire thing way back. You know, they got rid of Brian Flores, who was a tough taskmaster, who's proven to be a great defensive coordinator, maybe one day a great head coach. I don't know. And they had to bring in somebody, Chris Greer, the general manager. They're being sued. Stephen Ross is suspended. I think he's suspended for a year. I don't know, from being around the team. He's the owner, whatever. But the truth of the matter is they had to bring in an African-American, so this guy who's whiter than me had to say, yeah, I'm half black. Ah, well, good. So they bring him in as the original DEI hire. The media loves him, Mina Kimes, and, you know, those little Pablo Torres and all those guys because, well, you know, he looks like them. He doesn't look like Dan Campbell. I mean, he's one of us. No, nobody's one of you. Please. But anyway, he gets the job, and he's horse shit. Here's Mike McDaniel spewing his horse shit.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10, and then you find yourself at 2nd and 20. You know, that was critical.
Okay. All right. Mina Kimes endorsed. Another Mina Kimes endorsed. This is pretty good. You know, like I'm high all the time, and I don't really like, you know, but when I talk like this, I'm cool. Because, you know, like, I don't like, you know, like talk like, hey, like big time coach like. This season, the Dolphins are averaging 17.5, 27 out of 32. He's supposed to be offensive genius, isn't he? 33.5 average for opponents facing the Dolphins, 31st out of 32, and 0-2. 33-8. Now, that Colts loss may not be a bad loss. Danny Dimes, Dollar Danny, is going to be the MVP. And, of course, we sent a nice text to Mike Vrabel, got one back. We love Vrabel. He got his first win as a head coach. Former NFL running back Damian Harris slams Mike McDaniel.
I'm looking on both sides of the ball. Pete, you're right. They always look lost. I mean, Mike McDaniels is a lost cause. We can sit up here and talk about the hot seat. He's out of here. He needs to be gone. Would you play for Mike
McDaniel? If this situation was what it was and you were still in the league, is Mike McDaniel a guy, because we've been talking about the culture there and them not respecting him, would you feel similarly?
I would want out of there as fast as possible because from, you know, whether it's Mike McDaniels, whether it's Tua, whether it's the defense, whatever it is, this is an organization that has no foundation. They have no plan. They have nothing to build on. There's no direction, there's no discipline, there's no execution. And for me as a player, if I'm honoring my small window of opportunity that you have, because we know the NFL stands for not for long, I would not want to be in a place that is a complete dumpster fire, which is where Miami is.
Yeah, I don't know why that woman had to interrupt him. Damian Harris was telling you what was happening. Here's the deal. Mike McDaniel was the coach's guy, right? The player's guy. I'm a guy. I'm one of you, man. That don't work. It may work for a year, but it doesn't work because nobody gets better. And the great Jimmy Jackson, longtime NBA player, said, look, players don't give a rat's ass if you played in the league, didn't play in the league, coach, whatever. Just if you can make us better and we think we can win a championship, man, we'll do it. Mike McDaniel started out that way because, oh, man, he talks like this. Sounds like he's high and all that kind of happy horse shit. But eventually you see he's a fraud. And you can't be a pussy with players. I'm sorry, Mom, but you can't. You got to be tough, and then you can lighten up. And that was his theme this year. He was going to be tough this year. You can't do it. People see through it. They do. It's like in any other business. Look, I'm a bad person for this. I am. If I don't respect you, I'm done. If you lie to me, if you are a puss, I'm done. I'm sorry. I try to be nice, but I'm done. It's over for me. Now, that's not right, but I don't know where anybody that has done that has ever gotten my respect back. Not that my respect matters. It matters to me, maybe not anybody else. But like the Colts general manager, you know, he's so smug. I hate arrogance. And people say whatever they want about me, but one thing I'm not is arrogant. Not at least to people in real life. Maybe it seems like it on here, but I know more about sports than you do. I don't know. Anyway, Topper Hall, Mike McDaniel should be fired solely on the fact that he consistently rocks double-layered long sleeves in 85-degree temperature. That's another reason. I mean, why not? Just keep them coming. The most disappointing part, Neil Driscoll, regarding the state of the Miami Dolphins is how fast owner Stephen Ross committed to, well, if you don't know why this happened, Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel after an abysmal performance week 8 and rough 2024 season. You don't really understand why. Old white dude under fire. Says, look at me, I got a black general manager, and whatever the hell Mike McDaniel feels like he is on a particular day, black or white. Calais Campbell, who I love. Wait a second. Now, this is big. I've told you before that I had the greatest seats in Lucas Oil Stadium, 6 rows, and I sat them in the other day because I got them to my buddy. But anyway, 6 rows behind the visitor's bench, and I would study players. Calais Campbell was the best leader I saw on a sideline. I forget who he even played for. The worst guy I saw on a sideline was that idiot Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey was just a complete clown. But Calais Campbell, if Calais Campbell doesn't like you, you are not good. I don't like you. He left. He knew. He left for Arizona. Jalen Ramsey needs to leave. He's an idiot. He forced his way out. While there are talent deficiencies on the roster, they're better than what we have seen on the field. Organization feels fractured. Really, you think? Hey, just want to let you all know that we appreciate you watching the show. And if you love the content, and we know you do, make sure you head on over youtube.com/@, all one word now, @me with Dan Dakich. It's simple. Somebody at one of my old stations took @Dan Dakich or something like that. I don't know. The cloud chasing in India is starting to give me a headache. But the truth of the matter is, Don't at me with Dan Dakich is starting to explode, and I need to get it to 100,000 by the end of this year. So go there right now. I'll wait. Okay, thanks. Story number 3. The injuries are already piling up on the quarterback position in the NFL. See, here's what I have said. This is what happens in Indy. This is why I'm saying now the Colts are the greatest team in the history of football, because this happens every year. And maybe it happens to every team, but it happens to the Colts. There'll be a random Wednesday or Thursday, and the email will come from a guy named Matt Conte, who is the PR director of the Colts. And it will say a good player, a starter, is out for the season with an injury. I swear to God. Now, maybe this happens in your town too. I don't know. I don't get emails from everybody in the NFL, and I really don't pay that much attention. But in Indianapolis, injuries will kill you. I've told you this before. Injuries derailed my coaching career. I was going along great. And I've coached 10 years. 7 of the 10 years, I lost my 2 best players. 5, I lost my 3. You can't win like that, although I did. I don't know why anybody's not hired me. Maybe it's the politics. Anyway, 5 teams 2 weeks in are already having to turn to backups. Let's go through. Mac Jones bailed out the 49ers, toe injury with Brock Purdy. Man, I heard somebody making fun of the toe injury of Joe Burrow. I'll get to him for a second. Oh, man. If you don't know what that is, you don't know. I always said, non-violent, non-knee replacement or Achilles. The worst injury to have is something to your back. I'm not sure it's not your toe. It hurts like hell all the time. Imagine feeling like you have a stubbed toe. You're walking, you stub it on a door, and you're not wearing shoes. All the time. Horrible. Brock Purdy toe, Jaden Daniels knee sprain, which you better be careful with that because there are those that'll tell you a knee sprain is no different than a torn. Just a matter how severe. The aforementioned Joe Burrow, now he's likely done for the entire season. 3 months, come on. Justin Fields got a concussion. J.J. McCarthy out next week, high ankle sprain. Carson Wentz, we get to see him. All right, this is the NFL, and if you lose quarterbacks, you lose games. Period. Now, you can talk all you'd like about next man up. Yeah, next man up is great for that middle linebacker, maybe a corner, but not the quarterback, unless, of course, you know the name Steve Fuller. Steve Fuller replaced Jim McMahon, the funky QB, in 85, and man, he just did what he needed to do. Earl Morrall and others in the undefeated season of 1972 replaced Bob Greasy when Greasy got hurt. Now, backups have been okay. We'll see. Anyway, losing Burrow is huge. It really is, and not just for the Bengals, but for the entire playoff race. I'm going to say this, and this is my hot take of the day. The Bengals are going to make the playoffs without Joe Burrow. Now, I'm totally wrong on this because the center of the Bengals, Teddy Karras Jr., son of Teddy Karras Jr., son of Ted Karras, is a great dude, and he loves Joe Burrow. And if Ted Karras, unlike Jemele Hill, loves you, I love you. But there's something going on with Joe Burrow. I don't know what it is. Jake Browning's really good. And when you get off to a 2-0 start, the odds are very, very good that you're going to make the playoffs. I'm all in. I had 2 things yesterday. Colts are going to the AFC Championship game. I'm not going to say anybody yet is going to beat the Bills. And 3 things. I don't think the Chiefs make the playoffs. We could print this back if you'd like. And I think the Bengals make the playoffs. Chiefs, no. Colts, AFC Championship. Bengals, yes. Those are my overreactions week 2, but I'm buying them. Team Europe is turning to VR headsets to simulate rowdy New York fans ahead of the Ryder Cup that takes place on Bethpage Black in Long Island, New York. Hey, Bethpage Black is one of those infamous places where, guys get there at 3, 2, 1, sleep overnight to get a tee time. It's a hard course. New York fans are crazy. I went to one Ryder Cup. It was at Oakland Hills in Detroit. And I got to tell you, I wish I'd appreciated it more. It was one of those deals when I was a head coach at Bowling Green that anytime I left the office, I kind of didn't like it. But my buddy Kevin Custer got me tickets. And it was great. People were crazy, but I think it's even worse now. I will bet you, here's another hot take. I will bet you there's going to be a fight in the bleachers / behind the ropes between Euros and Americans. I don't know if there is all the time. Doesn't seem like it. Actually, now that I think about it, I was there when Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson played. I'll never forget, one's walking down this fairway and one's walking down that fairway. I mean, opposite sides of the same fairway. It was like 2 little kids. Anyway, since the moment the Euros embarrassed the USA team in 2023 in the Ryder Cup in Italy, one of the biggest talking points headed into 2025 has been how rowdy and over-the-top American supporters are going to be in Long Island. They called lids Long Island douchebags. My wife, the lovely Lee Ross, had a couple on her team at Syracuse. She showed me, see that girl right there? Yeah, she's a lid. Long Island douchebag. It's the greatest nickname ever. New York fans aren't exactly known for being the most welcoming of bunches in other sports, and that persona at Bethpage could be an advantage for the USA side. Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. I mean, Euros aren't as, stick in the ass as Americans. I'm sure Justin Thomas is a great guy, seems to be, but he seems to me like a Long Island douchebag without the Long Island. I don't know. The European dudes seem to thrive in that. I'll bet you this. Here would be something interesting. I got to get Ryan Burr on a show to find this out. How many of the Euros, in somebody's opinion, golf guy's opinion, have vodka or something in their water bottle? I don't know. I learned this summer, playing with a little vodka, not bad. Makes you not think so much. I don't know. But I will never do this. There are two things in golf I will never do. I will never call it birdie juice, and I will never call it swing oil. Just want to make that very, very clear. They're using this VR headset to simulate the sights and sounds and noise. That's pretty good. That's the stuff that we're going to have to deal with. So, this is Roy McIlroy. So it's better to try to desensitize yourself as much as possible before you get there. You can get them to say whatever you want them to say. So you go as close to the bone as you'd like. Yeah, why not? I mean, look, coaches do it all the time. Football coaches are pumping in live music during practices. Basketball coaches, same thing. You're going to play at Mackey. You better get used to the decimal volume in that great arena. We are doing everything we can to best prepare ourselves for what it is going to be like on Friday week. But nothing can really prepare you until you're actually in there. That's awesome. You can wear the VR headsets all you want and do all the different things we've been trying to do to get ourselves ready. But once the first tee comes on Friday, it's real, and you have to deal with whatever's given. I would argue this. I would argue that I am going to now bet the Americans. It's a lesson I learned a long time ago in 1989. We had a good team, Big Ten champs, but we had a couple idiots on the team. Big Ten Player of the Year, Jay Edwards, was a drunk. And he and a bunch of other idiots went out the night before. Got drunk, I guess. I didn't know. Hell, I just figured everybody's in bed. We're trying to win the Sweet 16 game against Seton Hall. Next thing you know, we lose the game. But one of the other things that came out of it was we made a big deal. We had oxygen on the bench. It was in Mile High, whatever that arena was called. That was stupid. You don't even acknowledge it. I don't know. There's two ways of going about it. I'm taking the Americans in this, though. I am. Hey, this is awesome. I'm not sure I'd ever pimp my mom out. I love you, Mom, but this is weird to me. There's a lot riding on the Vanderbilt, South Carolina game on Saturday night in Columbia, South Carolina. The unranked Gamecocks had a chance to go on the road and upset the number 11 ranked Commodores, unranked, in South Carolina against 11th ranked South Carolina with my favorite football coach, Shane Beamer. A win would put them at 3-0 and prove to the rest of the SEC they weren't going to be an easy team to beat. Listen to this, though. There was also a date with Vandy quarterback Diego Pava's mom, Antoinette Padilla, on the line. He had promised comedian, podcaster, reality TV legend Theo Vaughn a date with her if Vandy pulled the upset. Dude's pimping out his mom. Here it is. Let's hear it.
There was a shot of Cole standing right next to Theo, and I was going to say two of the great podcasters in America.
Yep.
Yeah, there he is. There they are.
Together getting millions of views every week.
Yes. I don't even want to know what he told me about Diego Pavia's mom either.
What?
That's not bad. No, it's not like that. It's not bad at all.
Well, let's hear it.
Tell us.
The way that I understand the story is that, maybe just give me a nod if this is okay. Diego Pavia wins this game. He promised you he would set you up with a date with his mom.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
He's a nurse, and I've always wanted to be. My goal is I would like to marry a nurse one day, so that's why I think
Smart.
He was thinking about that, but I don't even know if I would do it. I don't know. I like being his friend. I don't want to end up being like his stepdad or something,
That would be weird. I got it.
That is the end so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
And we have run out of time in the third quarter. The podcast will have to continue later.
Here's Pavia's mom. There you go. All right. Beautiful woman. Good for whoever Theo Vaughn is. I really don't know. I see his name all the time. I think it's a cool name. Is that one of those hats that people wear? I don't know. Truckers or something? I don't know. I know who he is. Diego took to social media to say there was a key bit of information that Vaughn forgot to mention. What Vaughn forgot, I said it was a deal if and only if he told Tate McRae to let me take her on a A1 date in Nashville. Twitter make it happen. I don't know who's Tate McRae. Anybody know? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Good. Great. Woke Hollywood elites were out in full force for the Emmy Awards. And a nondescript actor, Hannah Eidenberg, used her acceptance speech as an opportunity to project her woke ideology at a girl and her woke feelings on ISIS and Israel on the viewing audience, yelling into the mic, "Go Birds, F ICE, and Free Palestine." And if you saw her do it, I don't think we have the video. It was one of the weirdest Hollywood things ever. It was total Hollywood. She was shaking and all the bullshit that these idiots get into. Here's little Hannah. She's trying really hard. It's the most important. It's most important to stick up for people and for peace. We have to use our platforms. Wait a second. Didn't Palestine just butcher innocent Israelis? And that's peace? She's an idiot. What's the point of being at these big events if you're not going to use your privilege? Well, I'm not talking about this idiot. I'm sorry. I just think she's an idiot. And without the video, you can't say she's shaking and doing all this stupid stuff that little girls do that are trying so hard to be somebody. I could give it two shits about what that little girl said, what that little girl did, or what anybody in Hollywood does. Yeah, I don't really care. I used to like it. True story. I used to get People magazine and think, all right, one of the reasons I got People magazine is because I could do the crossword puzzle. I can't do the New York Times crossword puzzle. Look at his face. I got nothing. But yeah, I don't care. I mean, some little actress on some nondescript show, being an idiot, praising people that are murdering innocent Jews just doesn't make sense to me. No, it doesn't. So fuck her, fuck you, and go back to your little. It was really weird. That's a weird world, Hollywood. No, it really is. It's a really, really weird world. That one actress from Sex and the City, the redheaded lesbian, she got like 4 transgender kids. What are the odds? Evil people in Hollywood. Evil, evil people. All right, when we come back, Gary Myers got a new book. It's going to be good, too. I'm anxious to see it. He's the author of Brady versus Belichick, the Dynasty Debate. That's pretty cool. Those of you that have listened to me on the air for 20 years, whether it's ESPN here or wherever, you know I have a real affinity. Not necessarily like I root for him, but Belichick, Parcells, Brady. I just like that. For whatever, I like dynasties. I like guys that, whatever. I like the 27 Yankees, let's put it that way. I'm not big on the third-team defensive tackle from the little school. I like the big guys. And Gary Myers he's authoring a book that I'm absolutely going to read. Brady versus Belichick, the Dynasty Debate. Gary, I've never met you until just now, but one thing I know about your books is their research. This is not like, hey, we're going to throw some crap to the wall. You basically interviewed. I mean, I'm surprised I didn't get interviewed because I met Belichick a few times. Like, you went after it on this. Congratulations. I know the release date's today.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Dan. And I mean, this is my 7th book. And one thing I've always prided myself on is that I'm really a thorough reporter, so that I just try to get a hold of everybody that I think would have some relevance to the book. And this one was no different. I talked to lots of coaches and, former teammates, guys who played for Belichick, guys who played against Belichick and Brady, coached against Belichick and Brady, and really explored all the, the hot button issues that they came across in 20 years and trying to decide, okay, ultimately 9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 championships, who deserves the most credit? We know they needed each other. We know they each had a lot to do with the success that they had, but ultimately somebody has to get more than 50%, and that's what I was after.
What'd you come up with? I don't want to give the plot away, but
yeah, I want you to read the book. No,
yeah,
I mean,
okay, that's fine. No.
This is the way I'll answer it. I don't think it's a great surprise that in the end, I, along with a lot of others, think it was Brady. The question is, what percentage do you assign to each? Because it's not like it was 90% Brady and 10% Belichick.
Right.
I mean, Bill had a huge influence on their success. So in the end, I really had to come up with numbers for each. And that's the cliffhanger of the book.
Yeah, that's good. Read the damn book. All right, couple of things. Belichick, after his first year, apparently thought he was going to be fired. True?
Absolutely true. You have to remember he was 5-11 in his first year. In 2001, they lost their first game at Cincinnati. And then the second game of the year, which most people remember now as the game that Bledsoe got hurt. I was at that game. I also remember it very vividly as the first game after 9/11, and that really sticks in my mind. But that was the turning point in the career of Belichick as a coach, and obviously in Brady's career, because Drew Bledsoe suffered this horrific injury. He nearly died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital after the game. And then he made this miraculous recovery that he was ready to play in 2 months. But at that point, Belichick was settled in with Brady. He liked what he saw. He wasn't a big Bledsoe fan to begin with. And Brady saved his coaching career because Bill had told people in the organization, and he actually told the Jets coach on the field before that game, hey, if I don't get this thing turned around, Kraft is going to fire my ass after the season.
So Brady comes in. Was this luck? Like, when in all your research, was this like, I don't know, hey man, we got this kid, 199th pick, nobody knew about him, or was it like, you know what, this guy's got something, we'll take a flyer? Did they think? I'm not saying they had Tom Brady. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Was there any part of anybody you interviewed that thought Brady was an actual starting quarterback in the NFL when they drafted him?
Dick Rabine, who went and scouted him and fell in love with him, was trying to convince Belichick to take him as early as the third or fourth round. But there wasn't anybody. Listen, if anybody thought the guy was going to be a star, he would have been taken earlier in the draft. He nearly fell out of the draft. Dan, there were 6 other quarterbacks taken ahead of him. Belichick took 6 other players ahead of him in that draft, including another player in the 6th round, a few picks before he took Brady. If they had any clue, he wouldn't have lasted that long. But Belichick did become convinced his rookie year in training camp that there was something to this kid that was worth working with, because they kept him as a 4th-string quarterback, and no team keeps 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, not then. They got rid of guys. Now we got practice squads, and we've got extra guys. I find it fascinating, this. You're talking about Bledsoe. There's a part in there about Mo Lewis, the Jets linebacker. He bangs Bledsoe. Bledsoe's essentially done in New England, and people are actually giving Mo Lewis a bunch of shit because he's the guy that started the dynasty. This is fascinating to me.
Well, it's the Jet fans that feel that way. The Patriot fans want to put him in the Patriots Ring of Honor.
Right.
But Jet fans say, now listen, I really believe it was inevitable that Brady was going to play because Belichick just wasn't a fan of Bledsoe. And he actually wanted to start the season with Brady as the quarterback, but Kraft had just signed Bledsoe to his huge contract, and Belichick had already gone through a lot of misery when he benched Bernie Kosar in Cleveland, and he didn't want to go through that again. But as far as Mo Lewis is concerned, Jet fans are saying, well, if he didn't knock out Bledsoe and, get Brady on the field, this whole dynasty wouldn't have happened. I mean, that's kind of ludicrous. And to blame Mo Lewis for that, Bledsoe was running around right end. It was 3rd and 10. The Jets were up by 7 with 5 minutes to go in the game. Was he not supposed to tackle him and prevent him from getting a first down? It was a vicious hit. But even in today's NFL, where the quarterback should be wearing red jerseys, that still wouldn't have been a penalty today.
Is it when you're you've got in your book, this guy votes this way, that guy votes that way? Does what has happened since they departed, since they divorced, does that influence this at all?
Well, not in my mind, Dan. I really think, the premise of my book is who gets the credit for what they did together. What they did separately, to me, and you might disagree with this, to me it's irrelevant. Because Brady walked into a great situation in Tampa. They were a ready-made team. They won 7 games the year before he got there with Jameis Winston throwing 30 interceptions, for God's sakes. So they just needed somebody like Brady that wasn't going to put the defense in a bad position, and he was going to be able to score points without throwing a million interceptions. And they went up, they signed the greatest quarterback in NFL history. We all know that Belichick struggled without Brady in Cleveland, in New England, before he played Brady, in New England after Brady left. But what they did together, to me, is really the foundation of the argument and the debate on who deserves the credit for what they accomplished when they were together.
Yeah, you got guys voting in there. I'm shocked Rex Ryan votes for Brady. It's just stunning to me he doesn't want to give Belichick any credit. I cannot believe this. Oh, my God.
Well, I know you're being sarcastic there. But Rex to this day still thinks he was a better defensive coach than Belichick, and that give me Tom Brady and watch how many Super Bowls I can win. So he wasn't about to, and he points out that a game that the only game I think it was when he was in Buffalo that he was able to beat Belichick is when they had the third string quarterback playing Jacoby Brissett. So Belichick goes, yeah, this is how the rest of us live with quarterbacks like this and not Tom Brady. So I'm not giving you any more credit, than you deserve. I mean, he doesn't doubt that Belichick is a great coach. He just said he happened to have the benefit of having Tom Brady, which nobody else had.
Yeah. Yeah, but it would be, breaking news if publicly Rex Ryan said, no, he's a great coach. Having Brady, hell, he would have won with anybody. That was not going, at least what I know of Rex Ryan. You know him far better, but what I've paid attention to.
Yeah, I was going to say that, he proclaimed when he got to the Jets, I'm not here to kiss his rings. So there was no way he was ever going to give him credit.
My guy Davey sent me a lot of notes on your book, and this is a little bit fascinating to me, and I don't know whether this is going to be accurate or not, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. There was an element of politics here. MAGA hat, Brady, presidential medal for Belichick, Robert Kraft friends with Trump, all this kind of stuff. Some players didn't necessarily like it or dislike it. Fast forward to this era right now. How much different, and this is not this isn't really relative to your book. How much damage control, let me go this route. How much damage control did Belichick, if any, Kraft, Brady have to do within their own locker room for their relationships with Donald Trump?
Well, I think Brady is the only one who publicly at that time addressed it because he had the MAGA hat on the shelf in his locker, which was completely visible to anybody who was standing in front of his locker interviewing him. And Robert Kraft gave that. It wasn't like Trump gave it to Brady. Kraft gave it to him. But Brady had a relationship with Trump going back to the early 2000s after he won his first Super Bowl, whatever beauty pageant it was that Trump owned at that point. I don't remember if it was Miss America, Miss USA. He asked Tom to be a judge. The guy's 24 years old. Do you want to come judge a beauty pageant? Well, of course he's going to do that. And he said that Trump was very supportive of him during his career. He always texting him good luck and that kind of stuff. So he liked him personally. But Tom is not a real political guy publicly. And when he started getting the pushback for having the MAGA hat in his locker, it was gone the next day. I mean, after about, I don't know how long he had it, but as soon as people caught on to that and started criticizing for it, he got rid of it. So, Tom realized that, there are a lot of teammates in the locker room here who aren't going to agree with Trump. And he never came out and said that he supported Trump for president. I mean, he danced around that pretty good. I mean, I have my own feelings about whether he did or not. But Tom never came out and endorsed him. Now, Kraft did, and Belichick did. We all know about that letter that Kraft wrote to Trump, and Trump read it the night before he beat Hillary Clinton. And so it became very well known at that point that Belichick was a huge Trump supporter.
One of the things in 20 years together, well, let me ask it this way. What was something that, you've covered the NFL for a long time. What was something that you learned about either or both that you really had no idea was involved in this dynamic between the two of them, the team, the ownership? Was there anything that was like, wow, I didn't see that coming?
Basically, there was no personal relationship between the two. And I did a book 10 years ago. It was called Brady versus Manning. And at that point, I asked Tom, you meet with Belichick every Tuesday night to go over game plans. You sit there till 10 o'clock at night. do you ever have a conversation? At this point, they had won 3 Super Bowls. I said, do you ever have a conversation? Hey, we've been pretty damn good together. Look what we've accomplished. Me as a 6th round pick, you as a coach who I saved your job because you almost got fired.
Yeah.
And they never did that. I said, what about, you're looking over the game plan, you say, we got this. Let's go grab a pizza and a pitcher of beer up Route 1 in Foxborough and just kind of, relax a little. Never did that. Now, I'm not saying it's unusual that a coach and a quarterback don't socialize at all, but not many coaching quarterbacks had accomplished as much as they did at that point, like 10 years ago. And to this day, to my knowledge, at least when they were together, they never did anything socially. It was strictly business. And I always
they brought in Jimmy Garoppolo.
that.
They brought in Jimmy Garoppolo. They brought in some others. Did Brady feel disrespected seems to be the big word. I don't really – okay. But did Brady feel disrespected at the end by Belichick? And if so, how close to the end did Brady start feeling, wait a second here, these guys aren't appreciating me? Was that ever an issue between the two?
Well, instead of saying disrespected by anybody Belichick drafted, I would say threatened. Because
yeah.
Right, because it took Tom until his 4th year at Michigan to get on the field. And his attitude after that, especially with the Patriots, was I'm going to prove to Belichick every day in practice that I'm the best quarterback for him. I don't want him thinking about anybody else. And when he brought Garoppolo in, who was a 2nd-round pick in 2014, for the first time, Tom thought that Belichick drafted somebody that he envisioned as his successor. And you have to also remember that the way Belichick treated Brady all throughout his career, he coached him hard. And he was very critical of him, not only in private meetings, but in front of the team. And when Tom had won like 3, 4 Super Bowls, he's going, wait a minute, enough is enough. That's the point that he felt disrespected when Belichick kept picking. He would throw for 4 touchdowns. They'd win 35-7. And the first thing out of Belichick's mouth at the team meeting on Monday morning was, all right, Tom, what about that interception you threw? What were you thinking? How can you do that? And he was doing that in front of the team, and he would do that on a practice field. And Tom just, he reached a breaking point. His dad had some great quotes in the book that the way he summed up the relationship from Belichick's point of view was it was expectation and not appreciation. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it, that Belichick always expected more from Brady, but he never really appreciated what he did until it ended. If Belichick had said as many nice things about Brady after he left New England, if he said that while he was in New England, they would have both finished their careers with the Patriots.
Why is Belichick, according to Belichick, not welcome in New England's facility? Is that true?
All I know is I was there on June 12th, 2024, when they put Brady in the Patriots Hall of Fame. And Belichick was there. He was not only there, he was given a long and loud 2-minute standing ovation by the Patriot fans because it was the first time he was out in public since he had been fired. He made a heartfelt speech. As far as I know, I don't know of any other instance that he's wanted to go back to Foxborough and to the Patriots offices since then. I don't know what the circumstances would have been that he wanted to come and they said no. I'm not aware of any of that, so I don't know where that was coming from, that he then banned the Patriot people from coming to Chapel Hill.
You surprised, Gary? I don't know if you covered in the book, but he's dating some 22-year-old, 25-year-old, 24-year-old. How has he changed? Did he? I had to have changed somehow, some major change to, like, I was divorced at 50 and I mean, some 28-year-old I dated for a minute and I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of here. I mean, I'm stupid. He's smart. Like, has he changed a great deal? What are you seeing out of him now?
Dan, I've known him since 1979 when he was a young assistant coach with the Giants. And I can't even begin to give you an answer on why a 73-year-old man is dating a 24-year-old woman. Has he changed? Well, obviously. I mean, he's dating a girl who's younger than all three of his children. I don't get it. I'm not going to pass judgment on his life. They're two consenting adults. I just really wonder. I talked to Devin McCourty, who played 13 years for the Patriots. I had him on my radio show in New York the other day, and I said, Dev, what would you think about your coach dating a 24-year-old? He said, well, if you want to ask the 20-year-old Devin McCourty in college if his coach was dating a 24-year-old, I'd say that's pretty cool. But now that he's nearing probably 40 years old, I don't think he was giving quite the endorsement to that relationship.
No, I don't think that, hey, we can get the book today. Where, I assume Amazon, everywhere you get books. Right? That's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to any bookstore and get it, and Amazon or any place you like to order books online. Publication day is always an exciting day for authors, and I'm really excited about this book, Dan. I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, I cannot wait to read it. I'm fascinated by this whole deal, and I know you're busy today. We really appreciate you coming on and taking a few minutes. I know this is a great day for you. Congratulations, and really thank you for taking a few minutes with us in what has to be a great, fascinating, fun, busy day, and we really appreciate you, Gary. Thank you.
Yeah, I was actually on Good Morning America about an hour ago with Michael Strahan, and but being on with you is the highlight of my day.
I would think so. I mean, come on, Strahan, my ass. He was given the sack record. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Oh, that's a whole other story, but you're right.
That's a whole nother book. Hey, I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Gary.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Take care. Have a great day.
Go get this book right now. No, seriously, go get this book. This is going to be a great book. He's a great writer, fantastic insight. When Gary writes a book, I read it. It's like John Feinstein, my buddy, when rest in peace. There are certain authors that you just read, and there are certain subjects that you must get into, and this is both. So do yourself a favor, get your ass to a bookstore, get your ass online, get away from the TikTok videos, and go buy this. How about that? That's true. I'm doing it right now. Lee, go buy the new book. We'll be right back. Tommy Waddle joins next. It's the greatest afternoon show in America. It's Waddle and Sylvie on AM 1000. It is AM 1000 in Chicago. Download the app. Do it immediately. Hey, 2 games in, Ben Johnson, you're a former player. Give me your thoughts. What's going on in Chi-Town with the Bears?
I have not lost faith in the coach. I said all along, I thought, going back months ago, I thought it was the right hire. And that was, my feeling was confirmed and accentuated over the course of the months when he put his staff together. And, you wouldn't know it by the way that it's not that they're 0-2, Dan, that is most concerning to me. It's how they've lost those games. I mean, a complete team collapse in the Monday Nighter to start the season against the Vikings. And then, I said to people, I said on a lot of the shows that I do, I think we're going to learn a lot about this Bears team Sunday in Detroit. How will they respond after an unforgivable loss to the Vikings, a team that you had dominated for the first 45 minutes? Would you come out angry and focused and want to get that bad taste out of your mouth, or would there be some lingering effects from losing that game in such hideous fashion? And you were also facing an opponent that was trying to get the bad taste of week 1 out of their mouth as well. So I thought we were going to learn a lot about the team. And unfortunately, what we saw was a group that, was manhandled from start to finish. So what I would say is that the 0-2 is one thing, but how they've lost has probably been more concerning to me. So, it's a long season. They ebb and flow, all of these teams. Like I said, I'm not disappointed in the coaching staff. I look to players first and foremost. The one thing I will say, as much as respect, I have a ton of respect for Dennis Allen. I think he's a fantastic defensive coordinator, but here's some sobering numbers for you. They gave up 511 yards and 52 points to the Lions on Sunday, and now in their last 5 quarters, they've given up 680 yards and 73 points. So, and they're without their 3 best defensive players at this point. So Dennis Allen and his skill is going to be challenged going forward to find a way to stop opposing teams.
everything was going along really well. You know, a 40-year anniversary of the 85 Bears. Monday night, Montez sweating the fellas. Man, Tommy, that – and it's not like – I think Chris Collingsworth said they played 8 quarters in Minnesota, 1 good offensive quarter. Is it – when you hire an offensive guy and truly an offensive guy, is it – you know, you mentioned Dennis Allen. Is it a fine line to get the defense right? Should you expect the defense not to be as good? Where I don't understand even what I'm asking you. I think you get what I'm asking you, though.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, I mean, the offensive coach, he's a head coach, so he's in charge of everything. But I thought that Ben did the right thing. Ben, knowing that this was his first spin as a head coach and knowing that he was going to have his hands on the offense so much more than the defense, he hired an experienced defensive coordinator. And people may criticize Dennis Allen, the head coach, but I don't think you can really criticize Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator. He filled his coaching staff with guys that not just were former NFL players, accomplished NFL players, but players that had been coaches in the league for years. So Antoine Randall and Eric Bieniemy and Al Harris are all guys that, you know, they're not just, hey, this is our first run as coaches in the league and we're getting the opportunity because we're former players. These are guys that have dedicated their second lives or their second careers to being coaches. And I love the staff. With that said, I mean, everything's gonna reflect back on the head coach. The defense has got some issues. They don't get any pass rush. Their secondary has been decimated by injuries, but nobody's gonna, show you any pity. You've got to find a way. Danny, my career would have never existed had I not been in a situation where the guys in front of me suffered some unfortunate injuries. This is next man up, and I always look at these opportunities or these situations as opportunities for guys to establish themselves and maybe work through some of the adversity and find their way into an NFL career.
What are your feelings on Caleb Williams?
I saw progress. It's so funny that the first response to everybody now is to criticize the quarterback. I think that's just the environment we live in. And year one was not what we all had hoped for from Caleb and that team and the offense in a lot of ways. So it's kind of a reflex, quarterback bad. Well, I mean, if the first person you want to yell at is the quarterback after giving up 511 yards and 52 points to the Lions offense, I don't know where your motivation is. I saw progress. There's some issues with him that still need to be ironed out, but I thought he played on time more so. I think he played in structure much better. I think he made better decisions. There are still moments where he throws on the Superman cape and tries to do it all himself. And there was an interception in the first half of that game where he did throw a ball up instead of just throwing it out of bounds. So there's still improvements to be made. But while everyone was yelling at the quarterback and what they saw from the quarterback, I put the all 22 on the next morning, on Monday morning at 7 a.m. And I was pleasantly surprised by the first 30 minutes. Because I kind of knew watching the game that it was going to look better. And my thoughts were confirmed. Second half, how games get away. It doesn't matter if it's football, it's baseball, it's basketball, whatever the sport is. Once you're down 31-14 and the avalanche is on and they're pinning their ears back and coming at you, you really can't learn much about what's happening. And I will say this, Detroit was trying to make a statement because they were blitzing up 35 with only a few minutes to go. And God bless Ben Johnson, because somebody asked him in his post-game press conference, hey, did you think that Dan Campbell was running it up on you? And he said, what did you want him to do, kick a field goal? They don't kick field goals. This is what I expect him to do. So I appreciate what Ben said. And this is a big boy league. If you want them to stop scoring, puff out your chest and stop them. So we couldn't do that, unfortunately. But I thought the quarterback made progress, Dan, in this game. And look, that's what ultimately you're looking for early in the year.
Why? I've been a Bears fan my whole life. Why is it? I don't know. Like I said about the Colts always start bad. We're always swimming upstream. Yeah. Why is there always stuff with the Bears? Like, why is there always, I don't know the right word. I don't know the right word, but stuff. There's always stuff.
Yeah.
The quarterback has pink fingernails. They don't have this guy. This guy's hurt. This guy doesn't play well. It seems like they're one of those organizations that has morphed into that, Tommy.
Yeah, well, I think that when you're a team that hasn't had a winning season since 2018, and you've won 15 games now in the last 3+ years, and you haven't won a road playoff game since 1994 when yours truly was part of the team. Now think about that. This franchise hasn't won a playoff game on the road since 1994. When this is what your recent history is, everything's going to be brought up. Everything that doesn't feel right, look right, seem right is going to be the conversation. When you win, you know this, you've been in sports your entire life. All that other stuff is noise. So I think the biggest issue here or the biggest the crux of the situation is when you don't win, all of the other conversations are going to dominate the news cycle. So at this moment, my biggest issue with this team is, are they talented enough? I think they have the right coaches. I really do. I'll stand by that. But it's really interesting. You look at the game against the Lions on Sunday. Your second-round offensive lineman and your second-round defensive lineman were both healthy scratches. The 10th pick of the draft, Colston Loveland, was targeted once in garbage time, 0 catches. Your 39th pick of the draft in 2025, Luther Burden Jr., was targeted 1 time. So my question to you is are we getting enough out of the guys you're picking? And then you look at the money that's been spent. They gave $30 million guaranteed to Dio Adengbo, who I'm sure you know well, coming from the Colts, hoping that he would improve here under Dennis Allen. They gave $30 million guaranteed to Grady Jarrett, who's a fantastic player. He's 32, coming off a knee injury. You've given a ton of money to a lot of people. Are you getting any return on that investment? Those are the questions for me. All the ancillary crap is just that, and that'll all go away if you start winning games.
And that's on Poles, no? I mean, that's the question that Poles has to answer, Ryan Poles, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Ryan's been in place now since, and they did the right thing 3.5 years ago. They tore it completely down. And at the time, I said, look, this is the right decision. I'm glad they're finally do it. They're going to tear it down to the studs. But the tear down is the easy part. The rebuild is the difficult part. And the sad reality is, over the course of the last 3+ years, they haven't drafted a Pro Bowler, not one. Jalen Johnson was a fantastic player who I think we may lose for an extended period of time now, was drafted by Ryan Pace. They traded for Montez Sweat. I think he went to a Pro Bowl the year they traded for him, but he wasn't a Ryan Poles draft pick. So I think these are fair questions as to their player personnel department. Where are the difference makers? And right now, there aren't enough good players. Now, you got to give this draft some time. As I mentioned, I like Loveland and I like Luther Burden, but how do you spend a second-round pick on Ozzie Trapillo when he's a healthy scratch, and you spend a second-round pick on Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle, and he's a healthy scratch? Like, your offensive line's not the strength of your team, and your defensive line's not the strength of your team. So you've taken 2 second-round picks on guys that aren't contributing to areas that aren't real strengths on your squad. So there are some really interesting questions that are going to need to be answered over the course of the next several weeks.
Yeah, and it's not like they're playing behind, as you said, they're not playing behind Pro Bowlers. They're not playing behind Joe Jacoby.
No, well, I mean, they spent some money on the O-line. They traded for Joe Tooney, who's a fabulous player. Yeah. They signed Drew Dahlman to be their center, who, is certainly an upgrade. They traded for Jonah Jackson, their right guard. And I think you saw some progress from that group on the interior Sunday in Detroit. They were mauled across the board by the Vikings. That's a tough front to play against. So I give them a bit of a break there. But I did see some progress in the middle of that offensive line. They did do a better job running the football. But a lot of money spent, a lot of high draft picks used. At some point, you got to get a return on your investment, and that return has to come in the form of wins.
We were very happy, and still are very happy, that they did not take Tyler Warren and they took Loveland. Speaking of draft choice, Tyler Warren's really good, Tommy. I mean, he is like, I went to the game the other day, sat close. God dang, he's got a burst and a pop and all that kind of crap. Who knows? But we're pretty happy that you guys took Loveland and left Warren for the good guys.
To be full disclosure, like I obviously was impressed by Tyler Warren, but had I been making the choice, I would have taken Loveland too, because I think he fits what Ben Johnson's what he's going to do. And Tyler, to me, can do so many different things, but he's kind of built like an inline tight end, which is great. And the good thing about what the Colts have done is you spent a first-round pick on a guy, and guess what you're doing? You're implementing him and letting him play a big role in your offense. Our guy was drafted 10th overall and has been targeted 3 times in 2 games. So, I think it's too early to say who won that decision. Right now, obviously, advantage Colts, but, I got to see the Bears actually take their 10th overall pick in their very talented and athletic tight end and put him and let him be involved in the offense and see what type of return on investment you get. But I think that this is an example of, Danny, I think 2 things can be true. Both guys can be difference makers in the NFL. Whether you took Tyler Warren or you take Austin Loveland, if both guys go out there and perform at a high level, I don't think anyone's going to complain that you took one over the other.
No, I agree with that. People act like it's one or the other. Look, this guy had 4. Stop. I mean, everybody's got a different deal. All right, NFC North, Bears struggling. Vikings going to Carson Wentz. Yeah. Pack looked pretty good. And do you think there was – all right, let's go back to the Lions thing. You played in that league, and I know in basketball, if a guy's being a jackass in recruiting, I ain't mad at dropping some points on him. Ben Johnson leaves, Aaron Glenn leaves, Dan Campbell's here, and you know what? You're not as good without those guys. Was there any part of that in Dan Campbell's mind, as you said?
I think, first of all, Dan, I think that they felt really bad about how they played against the Packers. Now, I think the truth kind of lies with most things from my perspective, lies in the middle. I don't know that this Lions offense is going to be 5-11 and 52 points every week, and I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were at Lambeau in week 1. I think a lot of that also is that Green Bay defense. I've watched them on film. Not only are they talented and well coached, that group pursues. Like they gang tackle, they don't give up, they play hard, they play violent. That's a really good football team in Green Bay on both sides of the ball, but their defense is really, really impressive. There's no doubt. I mean, listen, I think the fact that Ben not only left, and I don't think anybody is upset that Ben left. What was he going to do? I mean, he was the offensive coordinator for 3 years. They were a top 5 offense for all 3 years. He's a huge reason why they've become the king of the NFC North to this point. He got an opportunity to make $13 million a year for 5 years and move on and be the head of his own program. Like anybody who thinks that he left the Lions in a lurch is just silly. But I think the fact that he left the Lions and went to the Bears, a team in your own division, gave them a little incentive. Yeah. You're going to leave? Great. Maybe go to the West Coast or something. You want to leave and stay inside our division? We're going to show you who's still king. And we're tired of hearing all this stuff about how when Ben Johnson leaves, this offense is going to go in the toilet. I think that there were 2 factors involved to me. One, they were pissed off at themselves for how they performed against the Packers. And 2, they're at home, their old coach is coming to work, and we're going to show them something again. They had their starters in late, and they were blitzing our guys late. And don't get me wrong, I don't blame Dan Campbell and the Lions at all. This is the NFL. You want to stop, you want them to stop scoring, stop them. And I don't think the Bears have any ill feelings about it as well. I think they're ashamed by how they play, not pissed off at the Lions 52.
Yeah, I just tell guys in our head coaches meetings in the MAC, if you beat me by 1,000, do your thing. If I beat you by 1,000, I don't want to hear about it. I mean, that's right. I don't want to hear about it. It's just, hey, last thing. Hey, Tommy, I love Baker Mayfield, man. When he got the ball back last night, it was like, oh, boy, he going to score. Thank God I bet the Bucks. That guy's tough, man.
He is.
God,
he is.
dang.
You know, I think he's also, Dan, you know, he got off to a pretty good start. He was first pick of the draft and got off to a pretty good start, I think, in Cleveland. And then his career kind of ebbed. And I think it's a reminder that sometimes, you know, it's the hardest position in all of sports, in my opinion, to play. There are going to be valleys in a player's career. Not everyone just is great from the very beginning. I don't think you can give up on guys that have talent and this huge desire to play the game and love the game and are willing to do whatever it takes to be the best that they can be. And I see that in Baker Mayfield. First of all, I see a guy who's just uber talented. And I see a guy who loves the game. And I see a guy who works hard at his craft. And, you know, the fact that he has been one of the league's better quarterbacks the last couple, he threw 40 touchdown passes last year. You know what I mean? So he's been a fantastic player in the league with Tampa. It's a reminder sometimes you have to be patient with guys. Some guys, you know, find their stride later rather than sooner. And some guys are good. Then they take a bit of a respite, and then they come back and they play well. So I'm with you. I love watching Baker play. He's the ultimate competitor, and he's talented. Like, this isn't just some little guy who's overachieving. He's 6'1", 215. He can sling it.
Tommy, you said it. He looks like he loves to play football,
Yes.
and he looks like he loves to compete his ass off. He
Yes.
really
and
does.
I'll go to bat with those guys all day long. You know, we had a lot of quarterback conversations over the course of the last several years. I think a lot of guys would tell you, give me a guy who's got talent. Takes talent, but give me someone who lives, breathes, sleeps, eats, all of that stuff. And football is his main focus. And you can work with that guy. Again, it may not be a linear rise to the top of the mountain, but, you know, a guy like Baker Mayfield is enjoyable and you know, it's impressive on a number of fronts.
Yeah, man, he really is. I appreciate you, Tommy. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Thank you very much. And by the way, if Tom Waddle football cards are going through the roof on the market, just look up WMVP's address and send them all to him. He'll sign them for you. Just get them.
If you want one, I got an entire bag of them in my desk, so I'll sign them to you and send them to you.
There you go. They're flying off the shelves. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some people don't understand. They don't understand the greatness. Appreciate you, Tommy. Tell Sylvie hello.
You got it. Thanks, Danny.
There he goes, right there, Tommy Waddle. I was going through, you know, when you move, you go through a bunch of stuff. And I sent him a picture of a card, a Tom Waddle card that my son, he had, like, I don't know. I think it was my son's. It was a album that had Tom Waddle card in it. And then I found a newspaper article that described me as IU basketball's Mr. Clutch. Yeah. So I sent both to Waddle. I said, there you go. You don't even know who you're dealing with. Hey, by the way, shout out our guy. Our guy. Who's our guy? Nate Burleson. Nate Burleson went on national TV the other day and said that, quote, I forgot what I was talking. Oh, yeah. Daniel Jones has established himself now as the full-time quarterback when Anthony Richardson gets healthy. What's wrong with Nate Burleson? Like I said, when I don't respect somebody, I really can't stop talking about them. Daniel Jones has been the starting quarterback since the moment the Colts announced Daniel Jones was the starting quarterback right before the last preseason game. And it had absolutely nothing to do with Anthony Richardson. It had everything to do with an open competition that, frankly, Dollar Danny won. I don't get these guys. Nate Burleson, what an idiot. He just is. I'm sorry, he is. And if you think that's wrong for me to say, then bite me. Hey, FanDuel has reached a settlement with, this is interesting. FanDuel has reached a settlement with the Jacksonville Jaguars, paying them back $5 million from former Jags employee Amit Patel. He stole more than $22 million from the organization, and then he bet on FanDuel. This is interesting here. Sources told ESPN that the NFL encouraged the Jags and FanDuel, one of the league's official betting partners, to come to a resolution, but didn't actively participate in the discussions and negotiations. A source with direct knowledge of the agreement said FanDuel was motivated to pay the Jags in the interest of being a good partner with the league. Boy, that's pretty good. The matter of fact is that the settlement was likely only reached here because of the NFL's intrinsic ties to the sports betting industry. The Jags recover some of the stolen funds, and FanDuel retains the favor of its largest professional gambling partner. I saw something that Clay put. FanDuel's full of shit. FanDuel took away a $7 million endorsement deal because here at Outkick, we apparently, or on Clay's radio show, we all, apparently are bad people for saying women should not have to compete against men in sports. FanDuel got a little chapped about that. F off. Anyway, woke Rainn Wilson, the actor, famously known for his role as Dwight in The Office, is now slamming the hugely popular show, claiming it was based on clueless, insensitive, sexist, racist people. The characters are clueless, and in their cluelessness, they're racist. Okay, and insensitive. Yeah, I'm not really big on giving a shit about insensitivity. I don't know. Maybe I was brought up differently, and they're always saying the wrong thing, and that's Michael, Dwight, Andy, and Kevin for that matter. So it's a show based around clueless, insensitive, racist, sexist people that kind of mirrors the United States in a lot of ways. All right. Next story. I don't like this, Brian Kelly. Never complain, never explain. He apologized to the reporter that he flamed after LSU's 20-10 victory over Florida Saturday night. I've texted the reporter, offered my apology to him for the way I handled the question. I think it's important to understand that, my standards relative to how we work with the media on a day-to-day basis needs to be higher. I take responsibility. I'll do better in the future. Blah, 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 blah. Off. Speaking of Florida and reporters, Gators head coach Billy Napier was not happy after a reporter asked a question about backup quarterbacks getting more reps with the starters after DJ Langway's lackluster start to the season. That's not a very good question. Well, when you're getting your brains beat out, see, Kelly can come at reporters because he's winning. When you're losing, you just sit back and take the idiocy. Here's our guy.
Value experience, is there any thought about giving elevator reps, whether in practice or in a game, to someone like Aiden Warner or Harrison Bailey?
Say that one more time.
Given the need for experience, is there any thought to maybe give more first-team practice reps?
So give the third and the fourth guy reps?
Do you think that the value of experience would help in that regard?
Aiden has more experience than DJ? No, he doesn't. And I think you'd probably be hard-pressed to add up Harrison's reps, and they'd probably be less than DJ. So that's not a very good question. Tramel Jones is the backup quarterback. All right, let's focus on what we can do from a technical perspective.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, when you lose, I just don't have interest. Now, I guess it's a big game, Florida going down to Miami. I mean, I that's a big game. Yay, Rod, go fight, win. But I got to tell you, I just don't have interest. Billy Napier's not interesting. Billy Napier, I've said this before, I'll say it again, not calling Urban Meyer to find out how you win at Florida. Man, look, hey, good for you, bro. All right, good for you. But I would suggest doing that. Just my thought. And I did do that. Just, again, my thought. We'll be right back.
Are we live? Can somebody text me if we're live now?
USA! 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 Let's cut the bullshit. How much Kentucky offer you?
Keith Olbermann. I didn't even know who he was.
Right here with President Trump.
We need to remember that we're all still Americans.
Young men have rejected the woke culture of the United States.
Watch this cannonball. Just keep your foot on.
Bam! Gun show. Tickets available.
I know that you're somebody that's very big on parental rights.
We're the parents. We have the fundamental right to direct their education.
It really should be called a LT backer. It really should, because you changed the game.
I'm going to do my Jerry Jones impression.
very disappointed that the Dallas Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl this year.
And I remember coming home that night, and I said to my wife, I said, I don't think I want to stay at ESPN.
Rookie of the year, C.J. Stroud.
I wanted to build that trust this year with my guys on the Texans.
I've succeeded. Now it's time for me to just ride off into the sunset.
Why not just settle and make all this go away?
The damage has been done.
Is it important to you that you are the highest paid person on ESPN?
I'm not stuttering. Hell yes. I said, you know what? I got to do it with Tyrus because I respect him.
Be bold, be courageous, stand firm, don't apologize for it.
I don't believe there's any website in America growing faster than Outkick is.
I'm getting overly optimistic, and you got a chicken finger on your knee, so.
Your guy, Aaron Rodgers, you worried about him?
They look bad, don't they?
Yes.
You really got to lean into the turns. You got to lean into the turns.
If you were 5'10", what would you be doing?
I'll be saying, hey, welcome to McDonald's. Can I help you, please?
If someone tells you you're good and you're not, wouldn't you rather have that person tell you the truth?
I really don't care. And I think that's when you become free.
It is utterly misogynistic for a man in a miniskirt to be stealing women's opportunities.
We cannot let this be normalized.
We need to see that fathers are capable of great things, especially in the last 3.5 years. A complete dismemberment of what it is to be a man. We're under attack.
They should not be bitching. They should be on their knees thanking God.
You say whatever you want. Whatever you want.
DBAP unless you need to SBAP. This has been Outkick, the show.
Boom.
Man, that was amazing.
Wow.
No, I've seen a lot of that. That was good.
I've seen a lot too, but as well as that.
I just had an interesting conversation off air with our HMFIC Dylan, and he said fan bases that, well, are going to be disappointed, and he thinks the Tennessee Volunteers are number one. In my old age, I go back to the Cubs. I swear to God, every time I thought the Cubs were going to win a division, every time I thought the Cubs as a kid were going to get in the playoffs, every time I thought the Cubs had something going, so really it was no surprise when the Cubs blew different playoff series. It was like, okay, that's supposed to happen. Here in Indiana, we have a saying. In terms of basketball, I guess we're supposed to pay attention now to football, but in basketball, Indiana fans beat Elkhorn State, Youngstown State, and get a big, big, big win over IUPUI, and we're winning a 6th national championship. Indiana fans are like, hey, see, I told you we were great. Look who. I don't care who we just beat. Look how bad we beat them. We're going to the Final Four, blah, 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 blah. Purdue fans can win 10 in a row, go on the road, beat UCLA, go beat Connecticut, go beat Kansas, go beat Duke and North Carolina, and they're like, oh, man, I know it's coming. Oh, jeez, I know it's coming. Oh, God. Butler fans, back when Butler was relevant, Butler fans used to be smarter than everybody. Well, when Brad was here, the circumference of the rim is, the ball fits twice in between. We had to listen to Butler fans here, but every single SEC team not named Alabama or Georgia, I would bet feels the same way Dylan does. I mean, think about it. I don't know that Arkansas does. I don't know that Mississippi State does. I don't think Vanderbilt does. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I think also a leader in the woe is me clubhouse is West Virginia. By God, Virginia is so used to being shit as people, as administrators. It's personal for me. I left there in 2002, and they still give me hell, so I give it back. But anyway, I liked the other day where West Virginia and old Rich Rod, who I really like, had a drunken episode with him. Not that kind, you pervs. Anyway, I like the fact that by God, Virginia went out and got her done in the backyard brawl or the game or whatever the hell they call it. Because West Virginia people, well, frankly, They're used to getting their ass kicked. I love the people of the state of West Virginia. I wanted and was offered the job a couple times at Marshall. I was really stupid. Billy Donovan took the job. His career went to the Hall of Fame, and I'm here in my basement. But anyway, I digress. West by God, Virginia, to me, they're one of those franchises as well. There are other places that just simply expect you to win, but we're talking about fan bases that are expecting you to lose. I'll give you one that's easy. The Cleveland Browns. The last time a Cleveland Browns team had real juice to it was, I believe, it was either 2007, 2008, so 2007 season. And they had Derek Anderson as the quarterback. And they went to Monday Night Football all the time. And I think they won 4 or 5 games the entire year. Some franchises can't have good things. The opposite to me is the Ravens. The Ravens, to me, they just go win games. They're like, hey, you know what? We're going to go win games. Tampa Bay used to be the downtrodden. Then Tom Brady, now Baker Mayfield, took that thing over. And reason I'm bringing this up is because I do believe the Bears are now that franchise. They're that franchise that everybody in this operation thinks they're going to lose on a daily basis. They're that franchise that you sit there and you just wait for something bad to happen. This reminds me of my childhood when Jerry Pettibone, Neil Armstrong, Abe Gibran were the coaches, and you just knew they were going to get their ass kicked every single Sunday. And then Ditka came in, and then it changed, and then Ditka left, and they thought they should be at the Ditka level. So they fired Lovie Smith a couple coaches later, and a 10-6. But now the Bears are mired in muck. They're mired in crap, and they can't get out of it. It's one of those deals where you go, all right, they drafted you, you're screwed. What? See, we care about the Bears. Some reason we care about the Browns. If you live in a town, any town of any kind of size, I guarantee you there is a thing called the Browns Backers. And there is a bar somewhere that is packed and a lot of fun. Even in Bloomington, Indiana, there was a Browns Backers bar. It was called Yogi's. And people would go there on Sunday, and it was a blast. Jim Carl, the owner, was a Cleveland guy. He had so much fun as a bar owner. It was spectacular. There's one in Nashville. There's one in New York. There's one in your town. There just is. Simple as that. Anyway, long story short, there are just certain franchises. There are just certain college teams that you're just like, you know what? It ain't going to happen. And the Bears, unfortunately, have morphed into one of those. All right, let's woke-a-dope it, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Too fly for a white guy. Oh, we're woke-a-dope it. Vote Republican. They may not be perfect, but the other side is insane. That's what I've said. That's all I've said. I look, well, Trump didn't do this. Trump didn't do that. All right, well, you know what? You had couple candidates out there to go against Trump that are completely unlikable. I mean, Joe Biden, really? This one? Hell, even the Heidi Fleiss of politics, Kamala Harris, she's like, yeah, it was really selfish in her book, apparently, that Biden did that. It's crazy. Kamala Harris? That's who you were going to vote for? The evil witch of the West? Hillary Clinton? That's who you were going to vote for? You can't be serious. I mean, think about it. Think about the people that are in that party right now. Jasmine Crockett? AOC? It was one thing when AOC was hot, but now her ass is 3 axe handles wide, and, it's just not the same for most people. And they're all supporting some guy. I don't know what the hell he's going to do in New York, Mahmoud or whatever the hell his name is. I don't know. But damn, that's right. This is absolutely right. Democrats, I grew up as a Democrat. I'm going to help you out. Get yourself a candidate that isn't a psychopath. That's number one. That's number one. Get a policy or two that makes sense to the American people. Stop with giving away free shit to buy votes. People are on to you. African Americans are on to you. They are. So stop. The Obama phone ain't working no more. It's simple. I'm here to help. Next. Everything I don't like is just like the Nazis. You know, they call Charlie Kirk Nazis. I don't remember Hitler in my history books going and sitting with a bunch of students and having a calm debate. I don't remember Adolf doing that. They're calling Charlie Hitler. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the case. Look, it's always the same. You know what the latest thing is? The latest thing is night. Trump is now presiding over a healthcare crisis. Now, let me think about this real quick. You let in millions of unvetted illegal immigrants from prisons and third world countries, and you're surprised you got a health care crisis? I had some girl who was a sister of a good friend of mine tell me all about school shootings. I said, really? Okay. Well, Trump has been in office 6 months for 12 of 16 years while school shootings have increased. Oh, I don't know. Guess what? The Democrats had control of everything. She didn't email me after that, or she didn't Facebook me after that. Honest to God, go gaslight somebody else. Go do that to somebody else. I am not the guy. I'm literally not the guy. I mean, I see through stupid. The Epstein files. Look, if Donald Trump was in the Epstein files as a pedophile, it would have destroyed his opportunity to be the president. Why didn't Obama and Biden release it? Why didn't Biden and Harris release it? They throw things at a wall. They throw things. He was supposed to be dead. They celebrated that. I mean, what are you doing? Just simply do what I'm saying, and life will be good. Next. Imagine being so brainwashed by liberal propaganda that you protest against safer streets. That's unbelievable. That, to me, is one of the most remarkable things I have ever heard of in my life. We are going to protest against safer streets, against less crime, less 2%ers or 1%ers, African-American kids who commit over 50% of the crime running around in our streets committing crimes. That's what we are protesting against. We are protesting against blowing up a cargo ship full of enough drugs to kill frickin' a small town. We're against that in these crazy, it's insanity to me, but you know what? I get it. I do. I get it. People are nuts, and I'm here for it. We'll see you tomorrow.